Guys and replay viewers, I know you guys see this always first. Hey, what's up? I hope that everyone's doing fantastic. I am super excited for everything that's going on over here. We got a lot of cool things coming out. Thank you so much to all of you who came and actually dropped your testimonials to us. That actually means a lot to me, and it was cool to see all the cool ways that this course has blessed your life and or improved it in some manner. And it was actually really tough. We got like almost 30. That was crazy. That's amazing. I know a lot of you guys were not able to actually see it and get it in time. That's totally fine, and appreciate the try anyway. So anyway, hey, what I want to do real quick, I've got a little bit of a shorter timeline today than normal. I am doing the Q&A today now, and it's because, guys, what we're doing, I totally understand, is very cutting edge. You know, and some MLMs have an easy time integrating in the back end. Some MLMs will never integrate in the back end. You know what I mean? You have to do some side steps and workarounds, which I know some of you guys have questions on. So I'm going to get to that because I want to really hit that so you guys understand how to get around. Like, hey, if you're part of an MLM that wants you to say their name never, you know, they don't want you to say the name ever at any time. Like, there's still a way to be able to bring people in, right? And that's the reason that I started getting this whole thing going, right? If they let you, awesome, you can do even more. If they let you and they let you build a funnel, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's why I chose the MLM I did. Love the product, and they let me sell with funnels, you know, so I can automate, which is amazing. I'm still getting 2 applications per day for my own downline, right? Like my old MLM that I was a part of, they would not have let me do that. I could have stayed with them and still been able to, like, you know what I mean? Because I don't say the name of my MLM ever. Have you guys ever even heard the name of the MLM I'm in? Like, no. And the reason is because I want to make sure that I'm being compliant. You know, even though I'm allowed to, I'm just doing everything I can to make sure, because I get it, right? Technically, it's their business, not mine. Does that make sense? It's one of the reasons why, like, I do what I do here, right? I am selling somebody else's business and product. And so one of the easiest ways for you to go and be successful in this game is for you to build your own business on top of theirs, right? That fuels it. That's why my stuff works so well. That's what I'm trying to teach you to do, right? And so if you got, right, it's not your business. Even it, right? Yeah, frowny face there, right? It's not. Like if you go and you start looking at it, right? I don't care even if they call it, like, it's your position. It's your position, but you're licensing basically their products, right? It's like a glorified affiliate a lot of times, right? So I'm just being real with you, right? That's how it works, right? And so you don't have any assets. The general MLM has no assets at all. And so you are selling their product with their script, with their way, with their duplicated websites. Like, you guys know I preach. And then I'm like, hey, wait, I'm supposed to be different? Like, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way in other industries. Why do I expect it to work this, you know, in this industry, right? And I totally get that there's guidelines. I understand the reasons why they, you know, but you don't have any assets at all. And you get paid for assets in the marketplace, right? And so what I do is I develop assets in front of it that are self-liquidating. I don't care if I make any money on them, right? All it does is it pulls people in and lets me pitch warm leads that should be in my downline, that should be buying my products, that should be, right? So regardless, right? If my MLM doesn't want me to sell my products online, then I don't. But I bet I can find somebody who wants, like, let's say you sell a weight loss thing, right? If I'm out and I'm selling a weight loss thing, I've got this weight loss product. I know it's amazing. And I'm not allowed to, let's say, put it in a funnel or put it online or put it on Facebook ads, right? I don't do that stuff, right? I bet, though, that I could create something in the front completely unaffiliated with my MLM that leads them to me. And maybe they don't let me automate at all on the internet. That's fine. I still have things that are bringing people to me. That is what the marketing does, right? Right? You guys have heard of the term marketing pulls, prospecting pushes, right? I don't prospect. I hate that, right? And if you like it, awesome. Congrats. More power to you. I just had this huge conversation with this very big individual last week. He's extremely wealthy. And he was he preaches face to face. And I'm like, that's great. I'm never going to do that. I'm not. And so I developed these, and guess what? It works. It works great. We have a lot of people coming. It's just awesome. And so I had to learn how to develop and market my own thing that would lead people to me, that would lead to a conversation to my actual MLM, right? And that's the way I did it for a while. And I ended up leaving this other MLM that I was a part of because they still would not let me do, even though I showed them all stuff, and that's totally fine, right? But I left. So I'm just trying to let you guys know, like, that's why I say, like, I don't care what MLM you're a part of. If you love it, if it works, it's awesome. If you are wanting to use these strategies and they're like super anti, you still can, right? Just adapt them to what it is that you are, right? I don't know what all the contingencies are. I don't know what all of your, I don't know what all the compliance statements are, and I'm not going to act like I ever will. So it is not, right? It's up to you. You got to go through, make sure that you know, right, what they are okay with and not okay with. The first MLM that I was a part of, and I started using these strategies, right, they were not okay with that kind of stuff at all. I asked many times. And so to get around it, all I did was create this cool thing, which you guys know as the MLM Masters Pack. That's why I give it away for free, right? The MLM Masters Pack, I created that thing and I put it out there, and it brought the right people to me who were searching, who were looking. They wanted to be successful. They were looking for ways to market their MLM. They wanted to do those kinds of things, right? I never said the name of my MLM. I never said anything, right? And that was the place that I knew and I found out I could reside. And so you might need to figure out where that place is. It might be moving. It might be flowing a different place. That's fine. That's totally okay. Anyway, a few of you reached out. They're like, I don't know if my MLM will allow this. And they might not. And that's okay. That's okay. And so what I did, though, is created this cool front end, never spoke about what the name of my MLM was, and then promoted that front end thing, never the MLM itself, right? After a while, I was like, I wonder if I can increase the speed of this. And then I went and found an MLM that'll let me do whatever I want on the internet, have it in writing, and I could sell however I want. And you know what I mean? And then I was like, cool. And the gloves came off, the cuffs came off even more. I still could do things though with the cuffs on for quite a while. So if you love the MLM and you're staying in it, like, still figure out which of these strategies allow you to move with speed, taking advantage of what is modern on the internet today. Anyway, so if you're like, I don't know if my MLM allows it, like, totally get it. That was the same constraints I had to work around the very first time I ever did this. And it was awesome. It did great. I had 350 people come to me, and about half of them were begging to join the downline I was in. And I never, ever spoke to them about it, ever. Does that make sense? It's like the side thing that you got to do. Like, I wish I could market it harder in some scenarios, and I can now that I'm in the one I'm in. I can, which is awesome. But there are some that don't allow that, and I get it. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not ever going to tell you to go around them or try and be sneaky. So I don't, right? So if you're like, Steven, I don't know what to publish about, then you publish about you, right? You publish about your life. What are you doing, right? They're joining you, right? Eventually, people are going to come and they're going to start saying, what do you do? Now you can talk. Does that make sense? It was the same thing with like, when I was, I can't, what were we selling? We weren't allowed to bring it up, but if they did, then we could. You know what I mean? So all we did is we got really good at asking questions that made them ask the question that let us start talking, right? Does that make sense? So figure out what those things are. Figure out where they are. And is that helpful though? I mean, I really am asking. Is that helpful? Because some of you guys have reached out and like, I don't know if my mom's compliant with it. Then don't promote your MLM, stay within the confines that you're supposed to, or you're going to get in trouble, and that's not at all what this course is about. So what I need you to do is instead start going in and looking at it and be like, this is where I can reside and create and develop and be awesome in without getting in trouble. One of the and it's actually a huge advantage that if you have some constraints, it's a huge advantage that you have. I believe that questions invite revelation, right? And very starkly, very, very strongly, right? I believe that. And here's the story, right? I was talking to some friends of mine, and we were at this event, and they were trying to figure out what they wanted to go buy this thing. Okay, it was expensive. They wanted to go buy this program, and the program was very expensive. And they started trying to figure out that the question they were asking, I know because they were telling me, they're like, how do I get a discount on this? Like maybe we could split the cost. Maybe we can three-way split cost. Maybe we can, how do we do this, right? And I started thinking through, and I was like, as I listened to them say that, the thought that came to my head was like, every time I have asked that question, I have always found an answer. I could get a discount by doing this. I get a discount by doing that. I could split ways like this. Maybe I could maybe I could finance it, right? Funny enough, when you ask the question, how do I get a discount? Or how do I shortcut? Or how do I, whatever, Do you get an answer? Yes. So if the rule is that questions invite revelation, change the freaking question. And what I told them was, why did you instead ask the question and seek an answer to the question, how do I afford the most expensive things in life? Right? And it just, funny enough, it's almost a lot of times, unless your brain's never been there before ever, and I totally get it, but a lot of times answering the question of how do I afford the most expensive things in life versus how do I get a discount on everything, the same amount of brain power. Okay, just ask a different question, right? And what's funny is I told him, I was like, look, if you go in and you start asking and you try and answer the question, right? How do I solve and pay for the most expensive things in life? How can I pay for this guy's program up front, right? Funny enough, solutions start to show themselves, and they ended up going and buying the program full price, and it was awesome. It was more money than it was a lot of money, and and they do great. And the mentality and the way they treat, the way that they, it's very different than the person who's trying to bootstrap the wrong way. I believe in bootstrapping, but not when it's because you're trying to find ways of avoiding the pain of solving the question of how do I make more money to pay for the most expensive things in life. It's honestly the reason why there's no payment plan in Secret MLM Hacks. Because when you guys come in here and you come into $1,000, I know that you have solved enough of those kinds of problems. I can take you from that place and make you go further. If I go and I make a payment plan, they are asking for a let out on the question of how do I afford more things that are slightly more expensive. I don't want that kind of person. And so same exact principle though, I started applying that to the first MLM that I was in. I was like, how do I attract people to me when my MLM doesn't want me to do this on the internet? Well, what if I just help people? Right? And that was it. They're not gonna have an issue with that. And it led to, right, 350 people going through it, and then about half of them asking to join my downline. Crazy. Does that make sense? I hope this is, I really am asking, I hope this is helpful as you start to see this, right? Figure out and be real about the confines that your MLM has given you. But then turn around and start seeking questions, right? Start seeking answers to questions that might seem like they're a total roadblock. Funny enough, that is where a lot of blue ocean strategists live. And when you do figure that out, and I've already paved the path like 99% for you, right? All you got to do is you just got to go in and start plugging and playing. Okay, Steven, module 1 I can use. Man, my MLM won't let me use the strategies inside of module 3, right? Oh, but I could totally use module 5, but my MLM won't let me use the bonus module material. That's fine. Like whatever, you still will recruit vastly more than the person who's not using any of them, right? And then you go in and you duplicate and you teach your downline the same process and go through. And that's exactly what we're doing. That's exactly the reason why, the next 2 days I got key members of my MLM, of my downline here in Boise right now. In fact, they're all flying in right now. For the next 2 days, I'm going to go through and we're going to finish setting up the last few pieces, help them bridge the gap between I understand versus I can teach how to duplicate. Does that make sense? We're bridging that last final gap there. And yeah, so there's a lot of, there's ways, like, I was watching a lot of your posts. I was watching a lot of the things you're asking. There's a few people, who are asking some big, tough questions, and they are. I want you to know that for every one of those, there's an answer, though, and a way around that I use it without being sneaky, but it makes me completely compliant and still take advantage of the most beautiful, fruitful parts of these strategies at the same time. So I'm going to go through and keep answering these questions, but I just want you to know that, so as far as like how do I use this in my MLM? Have the stark realization that you have zero assets when you join an MLM. They don't give you anything. You know what I mean? You're on a commission level, right? And most people shudder when they're like, I would never be a salesman. Right? That's what you are when you're brand new in an MLM. You're a salesman. You have no assets. There's nothing, you haven't been given anything. And even though you have a position and you bought your place in the downline, like, you don't own anything. At any time they can rip things away from you, right? And so you have to create the value. And a lot of stuff already is given to you. You just got to plug and play a lot of few things. So anyways, I hope that is helpful to you. And I just wanted to have a real talk about it, how the whole thing works.